The company was formed in July this year with 6 professionals, based in and around the square in Preston. And our aim really is to create a movement that's going to lead to the long-term revival and development of the square. We launched a consultation process in October, in early part of this month. And that really is a drive to get the views and inputs of all the different stakeholders of the square. So that's residents, businesses, students, historical groups, the church, anyone really who has a vested interest, within the square. And one of our core values is inclusiveness. That being, we want to get everyone involved in the square to have a say on the future of the square. And the results of that survey will help us create a green paper that will set out what we believe is a long-term vision of the square.
What do you see areas like the area that we're standing in now becoming? At the moment it's a quite nice place to have your lunch, but what would you like to see happen in the square?
At the moment, it has the potential to be a great square. There's a lot of history, a lot of heritage. It was originally a square for the residents, for the people that own the properties. And I think using that, looking at that as a concept, we want to help create a place that people can live, work, and enjoy in. We're here to restore it. It's a Georgian square, and we're certainly not looking to create something that goes against the grain and the heritage of the square. So, it's looking to really revive it. And looking at other squares, across the world, such as Bryant Park in New York and Russell Square in London, that are of similar size, but yet a thriving city, civic spaces. And I think if we can achieve what they've achieved, then we'll do well.
And earlier you were talking about Winckley Street and how that's had sort of a great range of shops and different kind of eateries. There's a few cool restaurants and some bars. Would you like to see that continuing in the streets around Winckley Square? Or?
Yeah, I genuinely believe that Winckley Street wouldn't look out of place in Covent Garden in London. It's like I say, it's got restaurants, bars, boutiques, businesses within there. If we can kind of replicate the success of that, you can see the success. The people of Preston and surrounding areas, don't necessarily want to go to Manchester or Liverpool. I think if they can have something of that quality on the doorstep, there are a lot of people in the suburbs of Preston, and I'm sure they will be attracted by a more vibrant Winckley Square.
I'm an architect. I'm from Preston, and part of my school life was around this square. It's a place that means an awful lot to an awful lot of people from Preston, and I'd like to think I'm one of them.
Okay, now a lot of people know Winckley Square as primarily the place that they walk through to get to places like Avon Park.
Yeah.
What do you think about creating something that's more than that, something that's a destination in itself?
I think it's really important. Today we're seeing lots of people walking across the square, and it's centrally placed within the town, but it's often used as a route through to other places, which in itself is a really good thing. We've had huge investments on the parks, in terms of the rest of the town and its connection from the railway station, which is just over to us here, the business quarter, moving that way. But I think what there are opportunities for, perhaps sometimes with maybe a light touch, is to have structures, have places where people can stop, they can wait, they can sit, they can eat, they can perhaps buy something to eat or drink, watch performance, just to spend a bit more time in the space itself to enjoy it, because it really is that high quality space.
And how are you seeking to engage with the local community via the consultation process? What kind of things are you going to be doing?
Well, the first initiative's been via the website, and it's a questionnaire that people are completing and putting their ideas forward, because I think that again is something that when we first set the group up we realised was key. We've got to listen to what people who use and live and visit this square want to see and what they want to feel about the place. In terms then of other ways of extending that consultation, we're actually looking to organise a couple of live events, hopefully within the square, where we follow a model where we work with people to actually inform the ideas for its design, for its restoration, and I think it's that pot of knowledge, that whole trap of intellect that we can really gain the best ideas from, and just by giving people the opportunity to speak about things that interest them and what could be, and then maybe helping them look at different ways they could be realised. It sort of brings consultation to another level. You've got to assemble all the correct stakeholders. There's some less, there's some more functionary items such as drainage, pathways. I mean, the surfaces we're stood on now, they're not always that level. They're not always that inclusive. It doesn't make the square an easy place for everyone to use, which has got to be at its heart. However, there are other things that possibly are a bit more off the wall, ideas people may have about, as I said, about ideas of performance, about ideas of how we could use it to for celebrations. And it's in those ideas, it's not beyond the realms of fantasy that we have festivals and fiestas in the square with a bit more sunshine.